What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We are back in the shop again today. As you guys saw in the last video, I got that motor done. Dave Unknown helped me with that. And we are on to getting Razzle ready for the dyno. I don't remember what I showed you in the last video, but I do have the Mac valve mounted, ready to go. I got to run a couple wires down there. Charge pipes on. Everything's pretty much done. I've got a little vacuum plumbing. And now we're working on the fuel system. Fuel tank's back in. I had to go pick up a few parts for this just to make it right. They had the top hat just silicone to this. I went ahead and picked up the right gasket for it. And then I made the straw. I went and got some aluminum tubing, flared a -6 fitting on there, and that's the aluminum straw that's gonna reach down into the bottom back corner of the tank back there. So that way when the car does wheelies, the fuel's in the back, it's not gonna get starved. And I also picked up a fuel sock to go on the end of it. So that's right over here. So I grabbed a fuel sock, and then I flared this fitting to make it like a, you know, like I put a hose clamp on it. So I'll run a piece of hose in between the two, and then it'll have a pickup sock on the bottom of it. Keep it nice and safe. Any debris will get caught up in the sock, and then it'll go through the filter as well before it gets to the pump. So looks like we're gonna be able to finish up the fuel system on this thing today, guys. I did grab a few other parts. I got these, ordered these Evo Energy Amazon fuel pump holders. Unfortunately, they are too small for the pump. So I went ahead and picked up one of these in Aeromotive setup. So that'll mount the pump, and I can use the Evo Energy for fuel filter. So I got all the push lock fittings I need. We're running AeroQuip line in this car because it's on E85. AeroQuip is E85 safe. Also, we might do a little bit of custom aluminum in between the fuel pump and the filter too. We'll see how that goes. Or maybe I can run a custom aluminum line out to the fuel rail. Who knows? We'll see how it goes, but we're back on this thing today, guys, and we are gonna get a first fire up of Razzle Dazzle today. So I have the sock attached on the end of what we call the straw. Let me shine the light down there and see if you guys can see that. Oh, sorry for bouncing. There we go. Now we'll zoom in. And there we go. I'll turn that sock so it sits right in the corner. And we'll come down about another ½ inch to where it's almost touching the bottom of the tank. And there we go, guys. Filtered fuel coming in, coming out this fitting, right in through the filter, through the pump, and then out to the motor. Okay, well, got the fuel pump and fuel filter mounted down there. I got the top hat all bolted down. I even put nuts underneath it. It was a pain in the butt, but I got it. Like I showed you earlier, the sock is down there. So this is my feed line. It's gonna go down there into the pump. This is the return line. It's gonna come back from the regulator over there. And we're gonna fire this thing up in a few minutes, guys. We're gonna be putting fuel in this thing and like I always say, kick the tire and light the fire. All right, like I showed you, I got the stuff mounted. I made a hard line for the pump to filter. Now I just gotta make one more line to come out of the pump and go into the feed, which is right down there with a barb. So we'll hose clamp it there, we'll AN it there. We got plenty enough AeroQuip left, so we're gonna go ahead and get that last fuel line ran and wire up the pump, which the wires are already there for it, and we'll be good to go. All right, guys, well, I've got the entire fuel system all plumbed up, and I just doused it with 5 gallons of the baddest ass E85, pump E85 around. I get it at a local station to us, and it tests at like E90 and above. So it comes out clear, it smells like freaking moonshine. So got 5 gallons in here. We're gonna go ahead and prime the fuel system, make sure we don't have any leaks, and then we're gonna fire old Razzle Dazzle up for the first time in quite a long time. It wouldn't be a BoostedBoiz car without a smoked battery in it, so we're gonna have to pick one of these up for Kyle tomorrow. I've got a place local that sells the Extremes. Meanwhile, I jumper cabled my Optima in there out of my car. It's actually taking a charge, so we should be able to fire this thing right up now. Here we go. All right, guys, here we go. Ah, there we go. Thanks a lot, boys. Okay, well, we're back out in the shop again today. I made sure old Razzle was topped off with coolant. But we're gonna go ahead and fire her up, let her run up to temperature, make sure the fan cycles, make sure everything's good to go. All right, I went ahead and shut it off. Notice that the temperature gauge was pegged right here on this sending unit for the coolant. As soon as I hook the wire up, it pegs, so it means that the gauge itself, or the sending unit here, is shorted out. So I'm gonna go ahead and swap it out with the one that I have. All right, we're gonna go ignition on now. You guys can see the water temp did not peg. Let's fire her back up. Give her the beans. Go. Now we can let her warm up. We've been letting it run for a few minutes. Feels like the thermostat just opened. And then I need to adjust that idle air control valve. I'm going to pull it off and clean it. We'll get this idle to clean up. But we're sitting at about 190. Waiting for that fan to come on. Go, boys, fans on. Lots of hot air coming out of here. Lots of fresh air coming in there. See how long she runs for. Oh, she's already off, guys. That was fast. Definitely doing its job. We'll let it cycle one more time. That's what we're running it for, and then I'll get that IAC valve fixed. I gotta solder up a couple more wires here and then put the seats in. All right, guys, the fan cycled twice for me, so I know everything's good to go. The old spoolie boy is still spinning. And we're gonna go ahead and fix that IAC valve real quick, get this thing to idle good, and then get her buttoned up. Razzle Dazzle's done. So we're back over in the big shop again today. Started wiring on Tony Zarelli's car. You guys saw this when it was outside after the powder coat got done. Most of the parts are still over there. They're still kind of assembling it, but they're at a point in time now where I can start wiring the car. Started pulling stuff through the tubes. Got the Switch Pros mounted down there and the Terminator X mounted. Don't mind the pile of wire here, but Switch Pros is going there, Terminator X there. So started pulling more through the tubes. Started getting the taillights through the tubes. I'll get this one pulled through tomorrow, and should be able to knock this one out in pretty quick fashion. In the meantime, Dave's been working on Bobby Boucher over here. And check this out, guys. The seats are in. Check that out. Those things came out incredible. Friggin' beautiful, boys. I'm gonna get the radio and intercom mounted up. I've got everything taped off where I'm gonna be cutting the holes in the dash. We're waiting on the bezels for the Switch Pros and the Holly dash, but I believe that stuff is here today, if not tomorrow. We're trying to get this thing ready for Glamis for the weekend of the 24th because Cletus and the boys are coming out on the 24th that weekend. I've got his car ready. I have Kyle's car ready. So this one is gonna go to the dyno this Tuesday. And like I showed you guys before, it's got an Alper Motorsports 383 in it. This thing should make some serious steam. We're waiting on a couple fittings for the radiator overflow. We got to shorten this hose, but just some little minor button-up stuff here, and this thing will be ready. We already dropped the old oil. Dave did that yesterday or the day before, and we're also waiting on the axles to come in. So today is Thursday, so I have 7 days. We have 7 days to get this car finished on the dyno and then out to the dunes. This is what I'm going to be cruising around with Cletus and the boys. Went ahead and got the GPS powered up. Got the radio and intercom set up, mounted in the dash. That always takes a long time trying to get it straight, make sure everything looks good. I had this all taped off so we didn't affect the powder coat at all. I started laying out the cabling for the radios. We're going to get that tie wrapped and the slack pushed back. We got the antenna mounted. And then I've got a few wires here that I need to run. I was going to run through this tube, but when they refabbed this car, they redid the shock mount, and the shock bolt runs through the tube right there. So unfortunately, I can't use this hole anymore. I couldn't get anything by there. They filled that tube up pretty good. So I'm going to have to run it along the outside, run it up, and then I'll dive into the tube up here. And then it's for the whip light. And then we have a third brake light strip that we run all on the back here. That's still on order, hasn't come in yet. But all that is what the rest of these wires here are for. We've got the whip on, I guess you call that pink, a ground. And then we have brake and running lights for that third brake light deal that goes up there. So wiring wise, that's all we have left to do on this car. This thing's good to go, guys. Like we're there. So it looks like this car will definitely make it out. Give her a little test and badass rig, guys. Well, like I said, that's a wrap today. Oh, I didn't show you guys with the hood on. Sorry. We got the hood put on this car, and it just looks friggin' amazing. And I love how the color of the seats break up the orange and the blue, and then got that orange stitching in there and all that. Dude, just so sick. Came out so good. Like I said earlier, we're still waiting on the bezel for the Switch Pros and the bezel for the Holly Dash, but everything else on this car is pretty much done. We have a small list of things left to do. Dave wrote that out for us earlier. We've got a seat wire passenger. That's for the adjuster. Tighten up the mirror. We'll wait till Dave gets in the car. We'll set that. Set the steering wheel and weld it in place. Obviously the dash bezel. Put the rear tires on. We're still waiting on the axles and CVs. The axles are out at the heat treater right now. Mount the hood. We just need to put all the screws in the hood. Put on the rear bypass spacers on one side. That's those. And then I need one more plug for the electric steering kit, which I have at home. Those bypass spacers go in here to keep these things from doing that, making a bunch of noise. Other than that, guys, Dave Unknown's car is ready to hit the dunes. Actually ready to hit the dyno. Today's Thursday. We're trying to get this thing on the dyno on Tuesday with Tim over at Exact Dyno. So hopefully stuff comes in. Yeah? Yeah. Nothing's going to stop us from dynoing it except not getting the axles. We do have some axles at Glamis Fab we can have Joe cut and bring home. He's already out there for the weekend. So Fab can bring us those. We can get him in on Monday and still make it to the dyno on Tuesday to try to get back out to Glamis on Wednesday and then be there Thursday to hang out with Cletus and the boys. So we've got this car almost done. I've got to get back to my shop and go get the seats mounted in Razzle Dazzle, and that thing will be ready for the dyno as well. So rush, 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 boys. We're trying to get these cars banged out. So stick around, and we'll bring you some more when I get back over to the house. Hey, guys, sorry about the wind. If you can hear it, it's really windy out here. So we ran out to Blythe to go see our boy Tom again, and went ahead and picked up this thing that's been sitting in storage for a while. This is an Extreme Echo 1, I think is the model of this car. North Star powered, kind of outdated. But we're going to go ahead and get this thing back over to my shop, go through it a little bit. This car is going to go up for sale. So they asked me to go through it, get it running for them. Obviously clean the filters, inspect the CVs and stuff. But we're going to try to get this thing running enough so they can come out next weekend when Cleet and the boys are out, and we can all hang out and go do it together. So a fun little deal, and we're just fueling up here in town and gonna get back on the road. Sorry about the wind noise, boys. All right, guys, so we're back at the house again today, back at my shop, and as you can see, I've got them packed in. Showed you guys both these cars. Razzle Dazzle's ready for the dyno. Bugs tucked away. Got the Honda off the trailer because we went and picked up that thing over there yesterday. I got this one under the cover. I got cars everywhere, guys. Mini truck's still chilling over here. I got to put some stuff away and get some things tucked back in. But I was kind of bummed out because our boy Tom already had this car pulled out. This thing's been under a cover over there at the RV park for 4 years. Untouched, unstarted. Did a little research on it. Like I told you guys earlier, this is a Extreme Echo 1. It's got a Bosch 044 fuel pump in it, so that should be pretty easy to deal with back there. If it's locked up, I can usually unlock them just by rolling the polarities back and forth. If not, I have a spare in the shop there. But fuel cell sounds pretty empty, and I did give it the sniff test up here, and definitely old bad gas. Horrible. And I just got stuff all over my water on my shirt. Mud dauber nests. Look at that. All over this car. So, like I said, it's been under a cover at McIntyre Park for 4 years. And we're going to get this thing running so they can come out and hang out with us. And then this car is for sale. The owner of this car would like to see it go. Tried to explain to him. I mean, it's a nice car. Like cool custom paint. It's definitely a 2000s era car with the the flames and then the skulls and the flames. Definitely 2000s era, but well put together car. It is chromoly, so it is a pretty light car. But like as you can see, guys, from it sitting for so long, just like all the rubber's cracked. Luckily, they used all braided lines. So not much issues there. Air filter's a little dirty. We're going to get that cleaned up. Steel braided fuel lines. The downfall to this car is right here. This Cadillac Northstar motor, unfortunately, is what's going to kill this car. As most of you guys know that are Glamis people, buggy guys, you know these motors are as good as boat anchors. Nobody wants them. Nobody runs them. Nobody supports them. I think this thing's on like a Tech 3 ECU. Those look like their coils. I haven't looked under the seat yet to see what it's on. I kind of don't want to look. It is a really nice harness. Someone did a great job on building the harness for this thing, but that's the value killer right there. If we took this motor out and put an LS in it, even a 5.3, this car would bring good money. So we are going to discuss those options with the owner, but I am going to get this cleaned up so they can come out and hang out with us this weekend. And Tom and our friends from McIntyre are going to come out and hang out, and then we'll discuss with the owner what we're going to do with this car. I would like to put an LS in it because that's what's going to increase the value of this car. And then, me personally, I'd like to take the A-arms off and have them re-chromed or powder coated or something and get all the rust off and just make this a high dollar car. But anyways, guys, we're going to jump to it here. I'm going to see if I can't get this thing fired up today. And I am out of time, so this car's only going to get a few hours of my attention today. I've got so much other stuff to do to get ready for this weekend in Glamis. So we'll see if we can't get this thing fired up, boys. First thing I want to do before I even kick that key on, run any of that old fuel through, is I'm going to go ahead and open the fuel filter up. And then it had this little hose going from here to the pump, and it was kind of hard and rotted, so I had to actually cut it off with a razor blade. So we're going to get that changed out. I'm going to open this fuel filter up and see what she looks like inside. I got it cracked loose. Let's get it apart. And just as I thought, look at that, boys. Good thing we did not turn the key on and try to pump anything through that. So I'm going to get that replaced and get it back in the car. All right, guys. Well, I went and put some fuel in this car, and can see I had to grab a drain pan because a fuel line was leaking. It was a braided one, but again, this thing's been sitting for so long, I'm not surprised. So I'm gonna jump in here into all my AN stuff and see if I can't find something to replace this line right here. Sorry, my shop is just thrashed. I've been working like crazy, but found some black braided. We're gonna go ahead and remake these lines, and I have some new Earl's fittings, so we'll go ahead and use some new fittings on that as well. So we'll get this thing made and get some fuel back in that thing, see if we can get it fired up. All right, guys, well, ran over to Batteries Plus, put a battery in this thing. So we're going to, as they say, kick the tire and light the fire here. Hopefully there's no more fuel leaks. Although I am smelling a little bit of fuel, but I don't see anything. So we're gonna build up some fuel pressure and fire this thing up. Pressure. It does, however, sound like it's down on a cylinder or two, but we're gonna let it run here for a few minutes, build up some heat. I see a fuel leak. We gotta kill it. All right, we got another fuel leak here coming off that dash 6. It looks like that is the return line. Yep, so luckily that one's just hose clamped on with a dash 6 on the end. I've got a bunch of dash 6 in there. I'll go ahead and get one of those made up real quick and swap it out. Got a new return line made. Had some black braided there and a new Earl's fitting on there. We'll go ahead and fire this thing up again. See where we're at. Definitely got a stuck injector in this thing, I think. I just evicted a whole bunch of stuff out of the pipes. So we'll get into this a little bit more and see what's going on. Oh, got a leaking water pump. That's gonna be fun. So here's a quick tip, guys. Just a little simple green water. You can use whatever. Spray it right there. That one's firing. That one's firing. That one is not. So we're dead on that hole. Look over here. Firing, firing. Dead on that hole. Dead on that hole. So these 6, 8, and 7, 6, 7, 8 are not firing. So probably stuck injectors, and we got a leaking water pump. Let it run up to 10. Fans cycled on like they should. So I got the fuel system clean, new fuel lines in. It is running. Now it's only missing on one. Not cylinder one, but one cylinder. And it's missing on number 7. We probably got a pretty bad stuck injector. I'm gonna go ahead and take it apart and get that injector unstuck as soon as the fan's shut off. All right, guys, I didn't film it, but I opened up the top, took that first injector out, cleaned it with brake clean, and then blew air through it backwards just to get her unstuck. Let's take a look here. It looks like our alternator went out too. So something else I got to replace. What do you expect after sitting for this long? But Yeah, guys. Purring on all 8 now. I gotta go pick up a water pump for this thing tomorrow. All right, guys, so we're back over in the big shop today. I stopped working on that car from yesterday. It needs a water pump and an alternator. We're back on Dave Unknown's car. We got definite confirmation that Cleater is coming out to the dunes. He'll be out there this weekend, so we're going to be out there with him, cruising this thing along. I think Kyle's coming out as well. We got the CVs and axles put in. Dave and I just finished that up. He's wiping the grease off his hands over there. And we're going to get ready to put this thing on some tires. I think I told you guys in the last clip from here that the dash bezels were not coming in. So I went ahead and used the flush mount kit from Switch Pros for the Switch Pros on the dash. Got that all dialed. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut a hole here for the Holley screen. We got the little Terminator screen down there. That'll come out. And the big Holley screen will go in here. We'll be good to go. We got all the wiring wrapped up. Just a couple things. I plugged the Holley in here. This is for the electric steering. And this car should be ready to go today. We got this short little list here. And we're going to start knocking stuff off this list. So stick around, boys. We'll bring it all to you guys. So we started knocking tons of stuff off the list. Like I showed you before, told you before, the bezels didn't come. So I went ahead and flush mounted everything. We got the back tires on. Axles and CVs are done. Dave's putting the last clamp on right now. I got to do some stuff for the electric steering. We need to set the toe, make a clutch stop, put nitrogen in the shocks. I may run home and get my nitrogen set up for here. And go ahead and get them filled up so the car's sitting up the way it should. Got to adjust the mirror, weld the steering wheel quick release in, and put the seat wires for the passenger side there for the seat adjusters so the sliders will work. But check it out, boys. I went ahead and just flush mounted the Holley since the billet bezels didn't come in, so that came out good. Flush mounted the Switch Pros over there with their little flush mount kit. But we are going to get the bezels. They are still coming, and we will cut them in. And he had them anodized this color as well. Radio and headset setup's done. Garmin's in, so we are really knocking stuff out. We should have this car pretty much 100% today. If not tomorrow, it'll be ready to go. Unfortunately, Tim over at Exact Dyno, his dyno's down. So we're not going to be able to tune this thing. It is on Holley, so I can log it and take a look, but it'll go plus or minus 30%. So not too worried about Holley Terminator and running an LS motor. As long as you don't just stay matted to the wood for 2 minutes or 5 minutes, it'll be fine. But got the back paddles on. Yeah, I know, guys. They're on backwards. They're on backwards for a reason. When we're driving the car around on the concrete, you don't want it to fold the paddles over. So we put them on backwards for transport. Dave knows what he's doing there. So axles and CVs came out phenomenal. This thing's freaking badass, dude. All right, so Dave jumped in, threw some vice grips on for a steering wheel. We're gonna go ahead and pull this out. We really wanna see this thing in the sunlight. Moving, boys. Straight back. Oh, look at the flake. Keep going. Woo! Wow. Look at the metallic in that, dude. Man, Dave nailed it on the colors, boys. Check out the flake in that blue. So sick. know the front end sacked out. There's no nitrogen in the shocks. We'll get that handled tomorrow. But all in all, successful build, dude. I'm stoked on this thing. This thing is gonna friggin' rip. And the metallic in that blue is just freaking badass. We did run into one little issue while we were outside. You see I hosed down the coolant. Water pump's leaking. So we are going to, it's coming from behind the pulley there, so the seal's probably bad. Dave will get one picked up tomorrow. We'll get it swapped out real quick. Shouldn't be a big deal. And this thing will be all finished up. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this video. I know this one was kind of long, but we are doing so much work trying to get all these cars ready. If you guys are still watching at the very end, make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. And if you're looking for some cool merch, head on over to theduneaddict.com. Get your hats, hoodies. It is desert season. It's going to get cold. So get your hoodies. We do have them in stock and ready to ship. So as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys at Glamis Fab.